Today we are going to learn how to use also, to, and so to say as well or in addition to. Let's begin by looking at using the words also and to. The word also goes before the main verb and after the verb to be. For example, he's Spanish. I'm also Spanish. And the word to goes at the end of the sentence. For example, I am Spanish too. It's simple, right? Look at this other example. She speaks Spanish. I also speak Spanish. Or I speak Spanish too. And another example. They'll be in London in June. We'll also be in London. We'll be in London too. Okay, now we'll move on to using the word so. The word so can be used followed by an auxiliary verb and the subject to mean also. For example, he's Spanish. So am I. Look at other examples. They're tired. So are we. He's a student. So is she. I'm from Melbourne. So is he. In these examples, we have the verb to be, which is also an auxiliary verb, in the first sentence. However, if we do not, we will have to use the auxiliary do for the present, did for the past, and will for the future. For example, I work in a bank. So do I. We use do with so because the main verb of the first sentence is to work, and it is in the present. Now, let's look at more examples with also, to, and so. They live in London. We also live in London. We live in London too. So do we. I listen to jazz. I also listen to jazz. I listen to jazz too. So do I. Now, remember that in the third person singular, do changes to does. For example, I play the guitar. He also plays the guitar. He plays the guitar too. So does he. You want a coffee? She also wants a coffee. She wants a coffee too. So does she. Okay, so now let's look at using so in the past and future. As I have already said, when we use the word so in the past, we use did instead of do. And in the future, we use will. For example, we went to the mountains at the weekend. So did we. I failed my exam again. So did I. He will come here when the match finishes. So will Bill. July will be hot this year. So will August. It's simple, isn't it? So now let's move on to using so with modal verbs. The word so can also be used with the modal verbs, such as would, must, can, and could. For example, we would like the red wine. So would we. I must go to the hairdresser's. So must I. Sally can play golf. So can Jane. I could walk when I was a year old. So could I. It's easy, right? And before we finish, let's look at some other forms using so. In the first person singular, it is possible to say, so do I, so did I, so will I, so can I. But these phrases can also be replaced with a simple me too. In addition, the word so can be used in short answers. For example, I think so. I hope so. I'm afraid so.